Hello, welcome to another edition of What the Papers Are Saying. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. I'll bring you the top stories that made headlines for the week. In a few seconds, I'll let you know the big stories and introduce my panel for today. Stay with us. And so for this week, three things caught the attention of most media outlets across the country. The first to do with the cancellation of the referendum, another to do with vigilantism, and the third to do with the fracas between Ghanaian and Nigerian traders. So let me give you an idea of how the various papers and media outlets captured the stories as they came in for this week. And let's start with the cancellation of the referendum and go to the Ghanaian Times, and let's see how they capture the story. And they say, President calls off referendum for lack of broader national consensus. We go to the Citi newsroom, and suspension of December 17 referendum laudable. This is coming from the Peace Council. The Chronicle says Mahama's flip-flop cost as referendum, John Boadu alleges. The Citi newsroom says referendum cancellation hasn't caused financial loss. This is Alima Mahama speaking there. The EC has also been speaking on that, and they say assembly elections to come off as planned. That is a story the Daily Graphic had. Citi newsroom we come back to Citi newsroom, and it says cancellation of referendum makes Akufo-Addo a dictator and tyrant. This is Yunusa Fuseni speaking there. If we can move to ABC News, and it says NDC disowns Asiedu Nketia over referendum statement. That's how the ABC News captured the story on the referendum. Obviously, an angle to that story. The Independent says the December 17th referendum cancelled. Let's go to Daily Guide, see how they capture that. And they say blows over aborted referendum, minister withdraws bill. Let's move away from the referendum cancellation and go to CDC's report on vigilantism and go to Citi newsroom. And they say vigilante activity is growing in Ghana. This is the CDD report. My Joy Online says vigilante groups are still active in Ghana. CDD Ghana report. Let's move away from the CDD report on vigilantism and go to the Guta versus Nutak matter. And Chronicle says President supports Guta but says it cannot enforce the GIPC law. Let's go to Citi newsroom says foreign-owned shops still locked despite Nana Addo's plea. Still on Citi newsroom, don't take the law into your own hands. Akufo-Addo to Guta. We still stay with Citi newsroom because it has another angle to that story and says Guta accepts Nana Addo's call for calm after recent action on foreign traders. Let's move away from that and go to the Ghanaian Times, and it says don't take the law into your own hands. President cautions Guta. Also, the Daily Guide says be patient. President tells Guta. And then we go to the Ghanaian Observer. It says don't take the law into your own hands. Akufo-Addo cautions Guta. And we'll end that story with the Ghanaian Times, and it says Guta Nuta clash in Accra, gunshots fired, stones fly, 7 arrested and 3 injured. We go to the final topic, and it's the war against indiscipline. It has returned, and we'll go to Citi newsroom, and it says war against indiscipline returned. Drivers with fake number plates and stickers busted. Still on Citi newsroom, unseen hands hindering police in war against indiscipline campaign. This is Citi TV and Citi FM CEO. So let me introduce my guests for today, and I have with me Attah-Mensah with Citi FM and Citi TV. I also have Selorm Adonoo. He's head of features and articles here at Citi FM and Citi TV. Gentlemen, welcome to What the Papers Are Saying.
Thank you, Vivian.
I hope your week has been good so far.
Yes, so far so good.
Great. So let's start with a referendum. So on 1st December, that was the past Sunday, the president addressed the nation, And during that address, he said the referendum had been cancelled because the atmosphere we're seeing currently wouldn't help with going ahead with it. And also, he believed we should do broader consultations. He wasn't happy with the turn of events, especially with regards to the NDC, because he felt during consultations with the ex-presidents, where former President Mahama was there, he had the feeling they had agreed that we go ahead with this. But is it a way to go with the cancellation? Let's start with you, Attah-Mensah.
Thank you, Vivian. I think the president took a bold step, in my estimation, and that's the leadership call. His own assessment of the situation, he was convinced that he was going to end up with a divisive situation, and the pain of divisiveness may not be healed before we enter into the 2020 elections. And so if a referendum ends up dividing a country that needs to be put together, then there's no point. And so I think that it's a good call that we cancel and then make a better arrangement for the future.
But what do you say because there have been arguments about whether he should have done the cancellation
or
allowed the people to decide? Because
no, the buck stops with him. And that's why he advised the minister to go ahead and put a motion, they call it, to Parliament. Withdraw the bill from Parliament. And he's a president, and if you may disagree with him, but at least when he spoke, we all knew that the thing had been cancelled, and I think for me that's what it is. It's just a leadership call, and there's nothing you can do about it.
We withdraw. We should have decided with this.
Yes, I mean I thought that it was an either-or situation. You have two options: yes or no. So my initial thought was that once it was a choice before the people, you leave the people to decide, provide the information, campaign for it or argue it as much as you can, and leave the people to decide. But given other factors like divisiveness, etc., it also made sense why he had to, to withdraw the bill. Because this election was going to be, it was going to be 17th December, almost 2020. And 2020 is a very high octane year in terms of politics, partisan politicking across the country. So if in his estimation he thought that withdrawing it will hold the country together better, fine. I mean, he's the guy, he's the president, the commander-in-chief. Everything else looks at him and watches his face. So if that is the decision he felt would be in the best interest of the country, super. But I think a number of things arise from the whole referendum discussion, argument, and everything. I think one thing there that we must all see is that, I mean, no one party or no one person is enough to push the wheels of the country. So there was some consultation, and I think they felt a bit betrayed by the NDC's maybe last-minute U-turn. They don't want to call it U-turn, but last-minute U-turn, because all along, according to government and their spokespersons, they felt they were on the same page. And I think they were also misled because of the meeting the president had with John Mahama. But I look at it this way. At the time they had a meeting with John Mahama, Jerry Rawlings, and John Ajikun Kufuor, they were not called as leaders of parties. They were called as ex-presidents. They could have come from other parties. And we've seen in other countries that a party can be in power, like France, for example. So Macron's party didn't exist before. So it's a new party. Maybe the party will live with him, I don't know. But if you bring Macron as former president to consult him, and there's another, you don't assume that he speaks for the party. And indeed, at the time that consultation took place, we're all happy and it should be continuing. But Mahama couldn't have spoken as a leader of the NDC because he was not. He was just an ex-president, somebody who had just lost an election. And so I think if they had pushed it a bit more. At the time, Portofio was the leader of the party. It became Fusam Pofu, etc. Citi and all those guys were around. I think a more fruitful engagement with the NDC would have maybe discouraged them from the flip-flopping or from the so-called U-turn, because I also watched and heard audios of some of the party officials going to programs to express or espouse the position that the yes position, and all of a sudden that happens. Of course, they say everybody can change their mind, but whether that was in good faith or not is another matter. But I think we should deepen consultation. We should deepen consultation and ensure that we bring people on board to push important things like this. The president made a point about durable consensus, that he did not see any durable consensus. In forging durable consensus, sometimes you must make trade-offs. You need to go to the person or to the other parties or stakeholders and deal with them in a certain way, because you have an objective. In the end, it is in your name. Yeah. So I think the consultation bit wasn't so good. And when NDC resolved, they were taken aback, they trembled, and so their arguments became a bit disjointed. The other thing I take from this whole referendum withdrawal and all the discussions before it is that I think people are not happy with the way politics is played in this country. So it became very easy for the no campaigners to push the argument that, we are going to see a repetition of what happens at the top down there. I think it's a good wake-up call for us to really take a second look at how we practice partisan politics so it's beneficial to the people. The divisiveness, the pain, the anger, and all those things, I think, are not.
But should we consider this referendum again at all? Just throw it to the back burner and just move with it, considering all that is coming on. The fact that I went out, spoke to a lot of people, and like you just said, they are not interested in politics at the local level. They know that there's some amount of politics happening. They know parties are sponsoring and all that, but they are saying, keep it away, don't officialize this. Let's just have, because one woman at the market said, so the MPs, you can't even go to their house, but the assemblyman, you can approach them easily. So we like it that way. They are more, accessible to us, but the real politicians, no. So stay away from this.
So I think it's a genuine call, and I also had a lot of that. I was saying the last time that, the road to my house is very bad, and the assemblyman and a few guys come together every night. They stand back at a certain point and take small money from people who live there.
To fix the road.
Yes, and I'm saying that if it had been this political system, a partisan system, you'd have seen NDC people or MPP people there taking money. Nobody will give them, or very few people will give them. I'm not sure how I would give them, because I'm not sure about how they're going to spend the money. I may be wrong, but that is the general feeling. About whether it should come back sometime later or not, I think society is dynamic. When we think that we've gotten to a certain, we're ready for it, maybe the consultations are better, people understand. Indeed, the yes campaigners, I did not see a forceful argument. I didn't just see a forceful argument. I mean, fiscal decentralization. I didn't really see
the government
forceful
campaign, the campaign from the local government authority, all those was not convincing enough for us to consider or go to the polls to decide for a yes or go with this. Papa, were you also with the people who?
Well, I don't think, for me, you see, I don't even know about this. There was no enough, what did you say? Consensus. Yeah. I don't even understand that. You see, from the beginning, there was no debate. There were no questions about people doing a U-turn. Okay, as you said, you have NDC people who had even campaigned early on for yes. Is that correct? Now, if the NDC person is saying yes and the government is saying yes, which consensus would you be looking for again? So the early signals did not give that warning light that we needed to do more, because the group that you would expect to oppose are on your side.
On your side.
So this is how I look at it. Secondly, I am thinking that it's not the referendum per se that people were against. Is a configuration of the referendum. So you ask the question, should we do it again? I'll say yes. But how should it be configured? If there's anything to be said at the table we need to now find out what we are voting for. Because first we vote, do you want to, at the local level, do you want to be voted for? And then people say yes. Then the second is, do you want it to be partisan politics? People say we are not sure. Now, why do we join the two? Do we have to join the two? Do we have to do it separately? Do we have to take it one step at a time? You understand? So I don't think we can throw the baby away with the water. I am thinking, let's go back and configure it well. And then, at the configuration level, build proper consensus. I mean, Parliament has been there all through. So we cannot say that there wasn't consensus. I mean, there was, but people had a change of mind. And so that's why I say that it still comes back to leadership. So the president assessed the situation and thought that this is not good for the country.
Okay.
They could have gone ahead and convinced people to vote yes. But what's the point in voting yes and then having ending up with a fragmented country?
Right. Now, another thing the president announced was the withdrawal of the 2431, which will lead to the voting of MMDCs and all that. A lot of people were disappointed with that because they thought that one was a clear one. We should have gone ahead and started the voting. Papa, were you disappointed with that move, that particular one?
To be frank, I didn't connect the two in the manner that you put. I thought they were all together.
No.
I mean, in terms of the voting.
No.
Okay,
so let me just give some background.
Yeah, so I wasn't following it to that level.
Yeah.
So the background really is, so we have entrenched and non-entrenched constitutional provisions. 431 is not entrenched. So if it's not entrenched, you just need to test majority of Parliament to amend it. So Parliament could have gone ahead to amend that bit. So if they did, then we would have been able to elect MMDCs, which I guess is very popular. But the political parties' participation or the multi-party participation at the local level, it's entrenched because maybe in the minds of the framers of the Constitution, it's a crucial thing. So you needed something extra to change that. So in amending entrenched provisions, you go for referendum. So that is what it is. So that's why people, spoke a lot about why withdraw the two.
Yeah. Because
one didn't really have a problem.
Yeah.
The one which had a problem, how about you withdraw that and let this other one pass? But it appeared the two, the president wanted the two to work together. So that is a little...
But legally and constitutionally, because that's another argument that came up over whether the president had the right to withdraw because the thing was in motion and it wasn't in his hands anymore to withdraw and all that. And there have been back and forth arguments from the two sides over this.
Yes, legal arguments can always, be hard. So, two schools of thought. One said the president could not withdraw it. The other said, why not?
But did the president withdraw?
Yeah, he asked the minister to withdraw.
Did the president withdraw?
Yeah, he asked the minister.
Yeah, so the president...
he directed it.
By withdrawing, I think with withdrawing a bill in respect of referendum, I think that's where the issue is. Not about the person necessarily withdrawing it.
Oh, yeah. So but the question is, was the president right in withdrawing? And I'm asking, did the president withdraw?
Right in action, let's say in this case, that the minister to withdraw.
That's in directing
yes,
to do.
Yes.
Okay. Ghana, when we say government, sometimes we mean the president. We say president, we mean government. So, so people think that the referendum bill wasn't an ordinary bill. Others think that the Constitution said bill, so it's a bill. So once Constitution hasn't specified that this is an extraordinary bill or an ordinary bill, once a bill can be withdrawn from Parliament and resubmitted at a later date, the same could be done for this. Others who thought the president or the executive could not withdraw it felt that once the thing is gone to a certain level, like getting to the hands of the EC, then it means that the president is barred from or proscribed from, touching it. It's an interesting argument. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody goes to the Supreme Court to seek interpretation on this. But it's an argument on both sides. It depends really on who you are talking to.
Okay. Papa, you want to say anything on that?
No, I spoke first.
Okay. And in any case, whether the president will withdraw it or not, he has withdrawn it. It has been withdrawn.
No, the man has instructed that the thing be withdrawn through Parliament. And they've done it all.
Yeah, they've done it.
They did it
quickly, the following day.
He said, go and withdraw the thing. They've withdrawn the thing so that we can have our lives back and enjoy life. Because Christmas is coming.
Okay, I'll take some messages. This is from Prince Henry from Koforidua. He says, it's sad we have wasted over 1 million cedis on the referendum, according to the NCC, when we knew we were not going to allow Ghanaians to make their decision whether we should allow political parties to participate in the Assembly and Unit Committee elections. We should have used this money to print the new textbooks for our children who have been in school without books. I'm really disappointed in the president. So we'll move away from this and go to the vigilantism report from the CDD, saying that vigilantism activities still on the rise, and the two parties are still behind these activities. And now women are really playing a key role in vigilantism and all that. We'll pick the thoughts of Samuel Attah-Mensah as well as Selorm Adonoo when we return. Stay with us. So yeah, welcome back to what the papers are saying. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. I'm here with Samuel Attah-Mensah and Selorm Adonoo. We'll move to the next issue to do with a CDD report on the activities of vigilante groups, and it's saying the activities are growing in Ghana. Guys, if you permit me, I'll just read a bit of the report, and it says that findings from a survey, this is from Citi Newsroom, conducted by the CDD, have revealed that vigilante activities are growing at an alarming rate in parts of the country despite the introduction of the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act. The report found that all of the activities and the associated groups are related to the two major political parties, the NDC and the MPP. The report also found that women were beginning to play key roles in such activities. One of the things that we found, this is a quote from Mildred Ajrak, who is a research analyst at CDD Ghana. She says, one of the things that we found was that political vigilantism is now a business venture where people form groups and offer their services to the highest bidder. Also, political vigilantes are not only formed by political parties, they are either formed like social groups or as a business venture. All the groups that we had were affiliated to the NDC and the MPP. Now, beyond what women are known to do as in support in acting as peace ambassadors, women are now instigators of electoral violence, and they are enablers and informants for some of these groups. Now, on the cause of the electoral violence and vigilantism, the report found that the major causes were the winner-takes-all politics, unemployment, and poverty, as well as politicization of chieftaincy disputes. And the report also stated that the seeming mistrust for state institutions, such as the Electoral Commission and police, are motivating the formation of vigilante groups in the country. So to think that we've passed a law to stop the activities, I mean, if you're found guilty, you get at least 10 years and not more than 15 years and all that. We still have activities of these groups still going on, and it's now become a business that people are forming groups just to offer services and all that. And then we're roping in the women as well. I mean,
okay, I haven't read the CDD report, so it's I don't think I will be able to give a very informed commentary on this. Having said that, I was hoping that for the CDD to have come up with such a vivid revelation, they could have done us a favor by mentioning the names of the vigilante groups.
Yes, they did. I will give you a few. So we have...
Should I go ahead? They are located.
Yes, they did that. Bema Camp, there's one called Bema Camp, is located in Yendi, Bolga Bulldogs, Bolgatanga, Dazota, which is Don't Fear, is in Bolgatanga. Invisible Forces is Bolgatanga, also in Asawase. The Hawks, Bolgatanga, Asawase. Aluta Boys, Bolgatanga,
okay,
and it goes on and on.
So the point I'm making is that the issue was taken to Parliament. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
And Parliament took a decision regarding... I don't know whether I missed the news, but was there anything like decommissioning of the vigilante groups?
No, there wasn't.
So maybe it's a gap that we need to find out how to deal with. Because really, if we admit that indeed we had groups of this nature, then just a parliamentary decision wouldn't be enough to just get them to dissipate into thin air. The next move would have been to decommission the groups. Because you see, the main thing in my estimation that causes the vigilante groups to be attractive to people is unemployment.
That's right.
It's unemployment. I mean, I don't know who is gainfully employed that you can call to be part of a vigilante group that they will thank you for the offer. You know. So while we are at it, we are supposed to identify these people and look for alternative ways of engaging them. I mean, just sitting in Parliament and saying that it's been disbanded, as we can see, is never enough. After taking the decision, somebody should have gone ahead to look at how to re-engage them, how to redirect their energies. Because poverty and unemployment still persist, these groups will never go away.
Okay. The political parties, are they doing the right thing to also, like the Papa's disband and all that? Because they are getting these groups too.
The law, yes. So the Parliament passed the law, which was beautiful. But the laws in themselves will not enforce themselves. The laws will have to be enforced by state actors. Again, very brilliant points Amens made about decommissioning the groups. When you say you ban them, yes, you ban them. So what? We know where these people are. We know them, and they know themselves. They still meet. They still do what they do. What I've just seen is that some of them have converted from so-called vigilante groups into fun clubs,
social clubs.
The same people, similar activities they do every time, just change of name. And because you cannot say people should not group or gather together as society members or Ghanaians, you know, to think about things or to do things once they are lawful. People say they are fun clubs, they are keep fit clubs, they meet, they take walks, they do everything. Meanwhile, there's a political objective. And I only worry a bit because 2020 is just next year, and it's an election year. And a lot appears to be at stake in this election. If we don't start putting our feet down, you know, this culture of vigilantism will lead us somewhere we wouldn't want to. I think maybe that was one of the reasons why the president directed the two main parties to meet and among themselves fashion out a way to disband these groups. The Peace Council came in because the two parties were not trusting on themselves. The Peace Council, you know, undertook to facilitate it, and they've been working on it. But whether the decision or what comes out of that will be strictly enforced and trusted is another matter. Today, this group of people don't attend the meeting. Tomorrow, this one gives another excuse that, you know, because of this we cannot make it, etc. You know, it doesn't really help us. Vigilante activities have been with us, but I think what broke the camel's back is the Ayawaso West Wagon election, and it thanks to the media, because maybe it was in Accra, so the media houses, a lot of them are in Accra, so they went there, took photos, videos, and then, you know, the media ran with it. Atiwa, I understand, you know, what happened there was equally bad. Akwetia, I hear it was terrible. Someone saw Akwetia. The Baba Jamal was it by election?
Yeah.
No, I mean that election.
Yeah.
The Akwetia violence was not the Baba Jamal one.
It wasn't the Baba Jamal.
It was the so there are two of them. Okay. The by-elections one, and then the
main election.
The main election, okay. Yes.
Yeah, so I recall in Baba Jamal's case,
and then Kufudia, NDC Congress.
Yeah, the Congress. Okay. Yeah.
The Congress.
Okay, so that's an internal vigilante thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I also will top all. I must
and
say.
then the Francis Essien one.
That's
Kufudia is the Francis Essien one. I mean, that was scary.
I heard there were horse whips.
that was scary. I have never seen that before. I mean, the Ayawaso was violent and was uncalled for. I mean, it was dirty and uncalled for.
It was brazen, like, you know, armed. And,
yeah, but you know, the people just came in a truck, and then in a truck, so you didn't expect any human beings to be inside.
Came out of the truck,
and then they came out of the truck and started shouting in some language. They take their thing.
So anybody in their way,
no, they are targets. I mean, they knew what they were looking for. Wow.
Hey. Ghana politics.
So I think, you know, so there's internal vigilante, and there is external too. So we saw what internal vigilantes do, or we've seen what they do. what is more disturbing is when these vigilante groups clash, as in because of political interest. And it's a sad thing. And it's even, sadder that now it's become a business venture. So maybe it's graduating into what we have in landguardism, where land guards, people form the group, and you can go and hire the people to go and protect your land, that kind of thing. So if we are not careful and we get to that point where people can profit from it, then it's a bigger danger. It's sad we hear women are getting into raid, but what do women say? What a man can do, a woman can
Selorm,
do too.
I am thinking that we have all suddenly created a certain conversation that makes political vigilantism a new phenomenon. There's nothing new about it. This political vigilantism has been there. It's been there since Nkrumah days. You heard Atokwashi when he was talking to me. He was leading them, the Tokyo Joe boys. They will harass you. They will come and threaten you. They use knives. He said it. That they will come to your place. They will just scratch the knife on the road and you will run away. So it's been part of our politics. But where we are getting to is being fed by unemployed youth. And that's where the danger is. So it signals a certain alarming feature of desperate people who would do anything to survive.
Yeah.
And that's where the danger is. So I find it absurd when I see well-minded politicians endorsing political vigilantism because it satisfies their greed and their interest that they will protect me. I mean, if you are a politician, properly so-called, and you don't think that the security agencies should be well-resourced and empowered to protect you, but you think a hungry, unemployed, desperate person giving a gun can protect you, then I feel sorry for you. Then I feel sorry for you. And this is what our own politicians call for us as a country. I think that this vigilantism, we should be able to just kick it with just the snap of a finger.
Because they know themselves.
Yeah,
they
know the groups where they are.
How do you say that they are working for you? No, these people, they are our people. So let's... I mean, what are you thinking?
Yeah, can't they get them better jobs rather than this?
It's not in their interest to get them better jobs.
It's not about sorting them out.
No,
it's about the protection.
Yeah, it's in the interest of the politicians to have these people around, and that's the sad thing.
Yeah, but that's an interest which is not founded in it's just absurd. The thing will come back and haunt us as a country. It's not good for us. You have the power to change. Just change it.
But as we saying in cases in Kumasi, the Kumasi one, when they were attacking their own courts, people now, the courts, and
but see, I was thinking that I think it also has a thing to do with the mistrust that politicians, when they're in opposition, have for the security agencies, the police, for example. And I also think that it's pushing the discussion to the so-called independence of the police. So if a new government comes and all of a sudden now you are comfortable with the police few months before you thought were not doing a good job and so you could not trust them. All of a sudden, so see the NDC, when they were in office, they were okay with the police, but now they think the police are up to something.
Selorm, is the unwillingness of the
politicians to resource.
I'm telling you, if you like, let any leader say that this political vigilantism, I am handing it over to Ghana Army, the military, to deal with it. Whether we will hear of any political vigilantism in Ghana again. Look, it's what we say, we call it Bodamenity. You know Bodamenity. You pretend you are mad, meanwhile you know you are not mad. It's because they know they can get away with it. If you like, let the military handle it and give them 1 week, whether you hear of political vigilantism in Ghana. We are pampering the people and we say we want to ban. Well, this is it. There are plenty. Don't multiply in numbers. Because there's some politician or businessman sitting somewhere who thinks that by paying them to do stuff it protects them. But you don't see that it will be short-lived. Because you see, once you pay them, somebody might pay them better.
More, yeah. And now that it's becoming a business.
Yes.
I mean, if you pay them X amount, somebody will pay them
So
Y.
I think that they should just hand them over to the military.
And then it will cease. Okay, let's move away from that. Go to Guta and Lutag. On Tuesday, there was some clash between the two at Circle. The Daily Graphic says there was pandemonium at the Circle Tiptoe Lane in Accra yesterday when executives of Guta clashed with their Nigerian counterparts following an attempt to lock up their shops. There was sporadic firing of gunshots and pelting of stones among the two factions, which resulted in traders and commuters running helter-skelter for their lives. This reporter was hit with a wood at her back during the clash. On Wednesday, the president met with them, assured them that he will look into the matter, but said they should stay away from taking the law into their hands. As of this evening, we know they've still locked up the shops of the Nigerian traders. They say they have to do further consultations before they open up the shops and all that. But this Guta and Nutak thing, it's taken so long to solve this problem of this foreign retail, right to trade in Ghana, etc. And with the Guta now, or still going ahead with taking the law into their hands and solving the problem on its own, not trusting that the police will do what they are expected to do in this sense, or government in general and all that. But if you listen to what the president said, even on Wednesday, it can have implications on us, our brothers and sisters in other countries, for example, in Nigeria and all that. We have Cyril Ramaphosa in Ghana, and this morning he was lamenting on what happened in his country with regards to attacks on foreigners and all that. But what do you guys think about this back and forth? And this is like the fourth time we are discussing Guta here, and it doesn't look like we'll stop discussing it anytime soon. So let's start with you.
See, the fundamental issue is a survival issue. Is a clear survival issue. And the members of Guta, or say the Ghanaian retailers, they just didn't see the solution in sight. And what they are saying is that this is a no-go area for foreign retailers, and they were not prepared to negotiate. I agree with them. I agree 100% with them. My departure is, however, where you choose to exact punishment yourself and try and do the work of the law enforcement agency. That's where I depart. But the fundamental issue remains that their understanding is that this category of businesses are reserved for indigents or Ghanaians. And so we should find a way of, if you like, protecting Ghanaians to play. And I say I agree.
But why are we finding it difficult to do that?
But we see...
Taking out the...
Well, let me just turn the coin. Let's go to Nigeria and find out whether Ghanaians are involved in retail businesses in Nigeria. I don't know what the Nigerian law says, but I know for a fact that it's very difficult for a Ghanaian to start and own and run a business in Nigeria. Not just a business, even churches. You try a charismatic church in Nigeria, they will just flash it out.
Wow.
How many of them? You know Central, you know Action, you know which of them, apart from Lighthouse, who's there? But see the number of Nigerian churches here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that historically this has been it. So I am saying that we may not be able to confront the issue in Nigeria, but at least in our own backyard, we should be able to manage it. You see, the reason we should listen to them is that source of financing businesses is very hard to come by in this country. And we all know that Nigerians have access to larger volumes of money.
Sure.
And so if you leave that space for any and everybody who has money to play, they will kick our people out of business. Because when they go to Nigeria, they have better money. And they have better money, they go to Japan and all these places, they get the second-hand goods, they buy the spare parts, they buy them in bulk, in containers. Our people, they go and buy tot. They go and buy a tot. So, again, the Nigerian will outprice you from the market. So, we are saying that if all of us are not on the same pedestal in terms of access to funding, we don't even know where they get their money from. What the law says is what should be pertained. So I am not in government, I'm not a politician, and so I don't know why the politicians, NDC came, they couldn't do it, MPP is here, they are not able to do it, and they are asking the retailers to manage the situation.
Be patient, we'll solve
and I don't understand when the politicians go on the ground, I don't know what they see. I honestly don't know what they see. Because you go to magazine, Kumasi magazine, the way the place is structured, people, artisans who run their, it's more like a culture. This is my life, which we think that is a preserve of the locals. Now, people with huge sums of money are able to penetrate because they can get the products at a cheaper price and give to Ghanaians. You know, so if you have more money, why don't you become a wholesaler? Because the law does not permit you. So this thing will be going on back and forth. The next you see is that somebody will go and kill somebody. Then it takes an international dimension. And I think that decisions will have to be taken. Decisions will have to be taken. We can't just leave it because, look, the president has spoken. This is what they are saying. Mr. President, we hear you, but we also need to resolve it our own way.
That's right.
And they are not hiding. They are not even shy about it.
No, not at all.
So that should signify a certain level of bravery that, look, we've had it to our necks. Whatever can come, can come.
What can come.
Yeah, what can come.
It is, I mean, someone has said it all. The law is clear. Nobody put a gun to our head to put the law there. You know, Section 27, 28, etc. of the GIPC Act is clear about who can do what business and in what forum. Nobody's saying foreigners cannot do business in Ghana.
No way.
The law is not saying that. But there are thresholds. And it's been done so that the locals can have something reserved for them. So that if you are a local, maybe you are not very educated, you've not had opportunities, etc., you can do some petty trading. Foreigners don't have to come from somewhere to compete with you, you know, in that space. I think that's the whole essence of it. But I think where we've gotten to, it's become increasingly difficult. And Ghana's, you know, penchant to quickly sign international agreements. So you have this law, which is your, we call it municipal law or your local law in your country. This is what it says. Now you go for an international forum, another agreement or international law comes up, and you quickly go and sign it. You understand? And so the people are saying that Ghana is a signatory to the ECOWAS treaty and blah, blah, blah. And so what are we looking at? All right, there's another dimension to that. Ghana is a dualist state. We have what we call the money state and the dualist state. The money state is the one, once they sign the thing, automatically it affects their local law or their municipal law. In the case of the dualist states, when you sign it, in the case of Ghana, you must, once an international agreement or treaty, you must take it to Parliament. For Parliament to ratify it, that is when it becomes part of your law. That is why in the case of the Gitmo 2, the Supreme Court ruled that the agreement between even Ghana and the US to transfer the people here was an international agreement. And it had to go to Parliament necessarily. And so it declared it unconstitutional and asked that government goes back to do the right thing and they send it to Parliament to ratify it, etc. So that argument, I don't even know whether Parliament has ratified that so-called ECOWAS treaty. But it worries me that we are in a hurry to sign things without understanding the legal or even social ramifications of the things we sign. We certainly must have a solution to this. 600 shops, retail shops belonging to Nigerians at Circle. That's huge. I've been at Tiptoe Lane a few times. I've seen foreigners doing mobile money.
Yeah.
Mobile money. So, I mean, how else could he get? Foreigners doing mobile money. So our project said, so I said, this guy, I realized, this guy is not a Ghanaian. But of course, they are in the business and the people know where they are. Yeah. The authorities or the law enforcers know where they are. So what is happening now is, you see, when we leave it to fester, we will get to a place where, indeed, already the confidence in the law enforcement agencies in respect of this matter is low or is weak. That is why they said they are enforcing the law that people cannot enforce, or the law enforcers are refusing to enforce.
There's a task force that was set up to do it.
It's not working. I think so maybe it's become so big, maybe we don't know where to tackle it from, because they fear that when they start is a certain way, your people are in another country.
Trying to upset Nigeria.
Ghanaians always want to play nice. Nigerians, when it suited them or when it was important for them, they did what they did in respect of the border. They are still talking, but the border is closed. They've given a January deadline, January 2020 deadline. We thought, it won't get there. January was too far off. But now we are in December. January will just come. And they are doing what they want to do because the interest of their people is paramount. So I don't know what or which people Ghanaians want to impress. These are local people. If they feel they have nowhere to go, the foreigners, and nobody should think that we are anti-foreign. It's just a law. If the foreigners, if things don't go well for them in Ghana, they can go back to their country and they'll be received. But this is our country. And our law says that these kinds of things are reserved for local people. And it's as simple as that.
But the president said it.
That he agrees with them on the law. Yeah.
Legally, you are right. And so there's no question about that.
Yeah.
You see,
the enforcement.
The thing is, right in the last 6 months, we've seen what has happened to our financial services industry and the number of people who have lost their jobs. Are we waiting to see our retailers dislocated from the markets because Nigerians have better money and they will come and throw them out? You know, we don't have to. We have to protect them.
Yeah.
Because this is not rocket science. And Nigerians won't waste time protecting their own people. So we have to protect our people. And think about, maybe we don't want Nigeria to be upset. Really? But we want it to fester into something else. No. At this point, decisions have to be taken. We need to engage the Nigerian High Commission. We need to engage them at the diplomatic level so that they also deal with their people when they are coming into Ghana. What briefing do they give them? What are the protocols? Because you see, if we don't keep engaging and we just open our arms in despair, this is what the outcome that we are going to see. People will take the law into their own hands.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's dangerous.
And because
it's really dangerous.
People don't easily forget. Yeah, Ghanaians, they will forget. Ghanaians don't forget. I'm telling you.
Ghanaians are like the internet.
People still remember 81, 82, 83, when Ghanaians were thrown from Nigeria. People still remember the early 70s when Nigerians were thrown out of Ghana. So, you see, we shouldn't joke with this thing.
Right.
We shouldn't joke with this thing.
Right. So you're watching what the papers are saying. We'll be right back and bring the final thing, war against indiscipline. We'll have the final words from our two guests for tonight on that. Stay with us. So you're welcome back to what the papers are saying. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. I'm here with Samuel Attah-Mensah and Selorm Adonoo. Our final issue is war against indiscipline. We are back on the roads. We're off for a while, but I'm going to let Samuel talk about that because earlier this week, Samuel, quote, you coughed.
No. You see, before we go there, I think that I still need to talk about this Buta thing.
He wants to fire there. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute.
I don't understand.
I'll give you 1 minute on that.
I am helpless. I don't get it. I'm sure there's a politician watching and say you don't know that thing is complex.
Yeah, maybe we are being simple about it. Yeah.
It is not complex. It's decision. Somebody must take the decision. And the decision is that protect your own first. Because, you see, Nigeria is protecting their own.
Everybody else, American first, UK first.
Protect your own first. And you see, have you seen that the minority, they've kept quiet over this? They've kept quiet because they know that when they were in power, they too, they did the same thing. So we, the citizens, we are helpless.
Yeah.
We are helpless. I mean, if you know the pain of going to take a loan from the bank, going to buy spare parts from Japan, going to buy spare parts from Germany, loading them on a ship, coming to Abosiokai, only to be displaced and dislodged by a foreigner who is not supposed to be doing what they are doing. And the law enforcement agencies are watching. They are watching. It's not like they don't know. They know. In fact, some of them, they even provide protection services to some of these foreigners. So I think that is a painful development that the government must really take a second look at. I mean, I could read the president's, his gestures when he saw the situation. He told them, and this is the first time I've heard a very high-ranking politician telling them that legally you are right. So they were waiting for the president to come and tell them. Meanwhile, Mr. Yofi Grant, GIPC, has been jumping around saying that they are wrong and that they should open up for everybody to participate. So it means there's no coordination. So what I'm saying is that the government, as a matter of urgency, should deal with this issue because, Vivian, if we don't take care, this thing will escalate into something ugly that we cannot manage as a country. I'm telling you.
Why? You are running away from why?
No. I didn't have to deal with this matter.
You never clear his chest off.
Because when I go to the Opera Square and all those issues, I meet the people.
So, we went to Opera Square and see there was a Chinese involved in retail.
There are a lot of them out there.
I mean, this Chinese man who couldn't even speak any local language, couldn't speak English, and was doing retail.
Yeah.
And he has hired two ladies, and then they'll be doing sign language, and then the woman will say something in tree. Why? If you are Chinese, we welcome you into Ghana. If you are Nigerian, we welcome you into Ghana. But there are no-go areas.
Okay.
There are no-go areas. And you need to respect our law. I mean, why should our institutions be supporting foreigners who don't regard our law? We have a law that protects a certain space. They come, they mess it up. Galamsey, they come, they mess it up. And you have people supporting them. You know, if you go to some of these places, Galamsey, there are chiefs who support these Chinese people. Yeah. Chiefs that we regard so highly, they support Galamsey. Why? Anyway, you say what against indiscipline?
So you have 30 seconds.
We were on break for a while, and we're getting frustrated. And so we had to
say one or two things
to bring it to the attention of the public, because people kept inundating us with calls while we're not on the streets, and we had taken it upon ourselves to do it. But on daily basis, any time I go for functions, Charlie, you guys, you are not coming back, and I was tired of answering the questions. Yeah. And so on the breakfast show, an issue just came up, and I had to spell it out that this and this and this and this is what we are hearing. But following after that, the police responded, and then today we were back on the road. So we're just hoping that it can get into the scale that we want it to. Because again, even 2 months ago, before we took this long break, we were preparing for a very huge operation that involved 120 policemen. And so I hope that comes up. And then, but more importantly, Vivian, let me say this, more importantly, the law that would empower the police to be able to effect spot fines has been lingering around Parliament for the last 5-6 years. Is it? We call it Act. Is it Act?
There's a bill now.
The bill. Yeah, the bill. The bill is there. It's been hanging there for the last 5-6 years. It's like when they are passing and they see that, hey, we don't want to touch this one. Meanwhile, if the police is empowered, it will generate revenue for our municipal authorities, for the police themselves, or for the government in general. We are not doing it. Now, if they arrest, now they have to process for court. And then, it's so laborious. But I'm just saying that the willingness to get this country together is what is lost on us.
We'll end there with that. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great having you guys. Our time's up. Thank you very much to Samuel Attah-Mensah with Citi FM and Citi TV, and Selorm Adonoo, ahead of features and articles here at Citi FM and Citi TV. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next week.